What up, world? This is Thrill Boxing Magazine, episode 22. I'm your host, Mike Thrill, baby. And listen, man, this year, been one of the best years of boxing. I've been watching boxing as long as I can remember, but I've been a hardcore fan for about 10 years. And I would say this probably been the best year since I've been a hardcore fan, man. So much that happened this year. So many stars shine bright this year, man. A lot of big names made some big things happen. And yeah, this episode gonna be special because I'm gonna give out the awards to wrap the year of 2023. So yeah, this the Thrill Boxing Magazine Awards show for 2023. Um, yeah, like I said, so many stars shine bright. We had big years from a lot of guys like Devin Haney, David Benavidez, Terrence Crawford, Naoya Inoue. Um, man, the list goes on, man. Gervonta Davis. A lot of guys did some great things this year. So yeah, without further ado, I gotta get some awards out. You know, I want to start. I want to start with the young guys, man. Prospect of the year. It's been a lot of young guys, especially on Top Rank. They do a good job building prospects. It's been a lot of young guys um, move, having some good matchmaking, and they doing great things with that matchmaking. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, my nominees for Prospect of the Year, you have Bruce Carrington, Floyd Scarfield, Emiliano Vargas, and Abdullah Mason. I did polls on my Instagram. I did polls on my Twitter, and I let the people vote. But I'm still gonna have my opinion still gonna weigh in, and we gonna choose from all three. But Bruce Carrington, a lot of people was voting for Bruce Carrington, but it seemed like the majority on Instagram and Twitter, you know, they liked Abdullah Mason, and I agree. I really don't be tuned in to the ESPN Plus, the early cards a lot of the times, but whenever I do, I'm seeing Abdullah Mason smoking these guys. He's very skilled, fast. He got some slickness to him. I'm really excited to see what he's gonna do in the future. So my winner for Prospect of the Year is Abdullah Mason. Um, I believe he'll be a champion one day, and we gonna see how his career unfold, man. Next, we had the Women's Fighter of the Year. You know, the women's boxing, I really like. The women's boxing really been picking up these last, I say, 3-4 years. There's been so many undisputed champions, so many big unification fights. And yeah, it started with Clarissa Shields, Amanda Serrano, Shanice Estrada, and Katie Taylor. They're my four nominees for Women's Fighter of the Year. Um, Clarissa, she had a fight in the summertime. She been doing so well, man. I ain't gonna lie, it ain't really no smoke for Clarissa right now. So it's really hard to find her some comp right now. She didn't beat everybody. Then you got Amanda Serrano. No, you got Katie Taylor. I mean, she lost to Chantel Cameron earlier this year. Came back, avenged her loss. Now she got them belts back. And you got Shanice Estrada. She been racking them wins up, undefeated. Um, and you got Amanda Serrano, man, who's been the busiest this year. She fought 3 times this year. I believe like 4 times since her split close decision defeat to Katie Taylor. And yeah, she's had a great year, man. So I gotta get an award. Oh, the polls was saying, some was saying Serrano and some was saying Claressa, but this year, because of the activity and she's been winning and active, I gotta give it to Amanda Serrano. Amanda Serrano is my women's fighter of the year for 2023. Number 3, man, fight of the year. Yeah, it's been some great fights, so it was hard to narrow this down. I ain't gonna lie. You had Jaime Munguia versus Sergey Deverenchenko. They had a fight. I believe it was at 168. You know, Jaime Munguia put his undefeated record on the line, and everybody who know Deverenchenko know he is way better than his record. I believe his record at the time was like 14-5, and you know he had a lot of close losses. You know, a lot of debatable losses, and yeah, you know he was serving Jaime Munguia majority of the fight, catching Munguia with some big shots, and then later in the fight, Munguia started to pick it up. You know, the fight, I ain't gonna lie, the fight was a terrible display of defense, but it was a fun exchange, a fun war. And Munguia later in the fight, he started to clip Deverenchenko, dropped him I believe a few times, maybe one time, I can't really remember how many times he dropped him, but at the end of the fight, I felt like despite the knockdown, Deverenchenko should have got the nod. But hey, I know how it is when you fight Munguia and you fighting certain dudes with that O, you gotta really beat them. So Jaime Munguia came out on top in that fight. You had Foster Hernandez. You know, Oshaki Foster fought the undefeated Hernandez, and Hernandez was doing good majority of the first 9 rounds, and then Oshaki, you know, he had a lot of rounds in it and mixed in there, but later on in the fight, Oshaki turned it up. He almost got stopped at one point. He almost stopped Hernandez in the 11th round, and that was the round of the year, by the way. That was definitely round of the year. And then later on in the round, Hernandez clipped him, hurt him. Then he finished the fight stopping Hernandez. And yeah, if you ain't watched that fight, go watch Oshaki Foster versus Hernandez. That was a great fight. Navarrete versus Conceição was another great fight. It ended in a draw. You know, Conceição was winning the fight by a huge margin in my opinion, and then Navarrete started turning it up, dropped him. In all these fights, it lets you know in boxing, man, that first 6 rounds ain't as important as that last 6. It's really be about how you finish in a lot of these championship fights. And yeah, that was a draw. You know, a lot of people saying robbery or whatever. But then we got Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko. You know, that was the only fight I got to go to this year. And it was a great fight. The build up, everything, the talk, the hype, everything was great about this fight. It was for all the marbles at 135. And yeah, I was at the fight. You know, I ain't gonna lie, I had some low budget seats. So what I seen at the fight didn't reflect what I seen when I watched it 3 times at home. When I watched it at the fight, you know, I had Devin messed up. You know what I'm saying? I had them low budget. See, I'm far, so I'm thinking a lot of Loma work was landing. I'm thinking he had a lot more cleaner work in the fight. You know, and I thought he probably edged it at the time. You know, I'm like, hold on, he got robbed. Hold on, he done robbed Loma. You know, that was my initial reaction watching it from the crowd. You know, all the fans, they seemed like they was all from Ukraine. They was going crazy for Loma. You know, whether he missed or not, they was making noise, and it was throwing your boy off. Your poor man's. It was throwing me off. So, you know, I initially judged that fight. I edged it for Loma, and then when I watched it at home, I realized the judges ain't make no mistake. You know what I'm saying? Well, I did see the body work the first time, but when I got home, the body work, it was body work from Devin Haney. You know, he was pressing the action. He was the ring generalship. Loma was down a lot. That first 7-8 rounds, he was down. Devin got a lot of those early rounds. And then, you know, Loma had a big 10th or 11th round. And initially, I thought Devin was about to get stopped. I ain't gonna lie. You know, but even when I watched that again, you know, those were some big rounds. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it was from the crowd. You know what I'm saying? And you know, on the rewatch, I really had it 7-5, but 8-4 wasn't crazy for Haney. I ain't even gonna lie to you. But that fight was so good, man, because it's buzzing still. People still complaining. People still saying Loma won. People still clowning Loma. People still posting when Loma was crying. So for that reason, that's my fight of the year because it's the most talked about. It was so action packed. And yeah, that fight gonna be remembered. So Haney Lomachenko is my fight of the year. And yeah, I like that fight. Number 4, man, my trainer of the year. You know, Bill Haney, Devin Haney's dad. You know, he got Devin, he got Amari Jones. He worked with a few people, but most importantly, Devin Haney. And Devin Haney has had one of the best years in boxing, you know. So Bill Haney is one. Shingo Inoue, Naoya Inoue's dad. Now Naoya Inoue just became undisputed. Had 2 big victories. Trained by his dad. Robert Garcia, he got so many champions, I be losing count. You know what I'm saying? Like, Robert Garcia be going crazy. One of the most underrated trainers in the game. And then you got Bo-Mac, Brian McIntyre, Terrence Crawford's trainer. You know, he worked with Keyshawn Davis. He recently worked with Chris Eubank. Eubank got his get back. And, you know, Keyshawn Davis been winning. And Terrence Crawford became undisputed. You know what I'm saying? Knocked out Errol Spence. And then, you know, he trained Eubank to get his revenge versus Liam Smith. And yeah. For that reason, Bo-Mac is my trainer of the year. You know, he wasn't taking no L's this year. You know what I'm saying? And he got a long awaited victory with Terrence Crawford. So yeah. Shout out to Bo-Mac on a great year. Brian McIntyre, trainer of the year. My upset of the year. Now this one's so up in the air for me because you had so many great fights and you had so many great upsets. Brian Mendoza's knocked out Sebastian Fundora, the 6'6", 154 puncher. He stopped Fundora. He was losing. He was down on the cards. He came back. Chop that tree. Put that boy out. Rafael Espinoza and Robeisy Ramirez. A 6 feet, 126 pounder. Came out of nowhere. It was a great fight. And, he got the victory over Ramirez. Jericho O'Quinn, my boy, Detroit in the building. He fought Peter McGrail, undefeated. A lot of people, he was a huge underdog. He was losing most of the fight. Came back, got the stoppage. A nice stoppage too. And had them boys quiet. So yeah, Jericho O'Quinn did his thing. And then we got Joseph Parker and Deontay Wilder. I thought Deontay Wilder was going to smoke Parker. I thought he was going to be getting outboxed and then land a big shot. But no, that ain't happened. Joseph Parker was cooking Wilder the whole night. Wilder barely probably even won a round. And he hurt Wilder. Almost stopped Wilder at one point. And he spoiled all the plans for Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder in March. He messed up all the plans. That was a fight worth hundreds of millions, and you got Joseph Parker coming and putting a monkey wrench in it. It's over with. Beat him. And yeah, for that reason, Joseph Parker is my upset of the year over Deontay Wilder. For the simple fact that they thought it was sweet. He came, cook Wilder, man. But yeah, now we got Wilder, considering like what else he need to do. That's definitely an upset of the year, if you ask me. KO of the year.
What a shot. Look, he rolled with that shot, took the power off it just to come back with a power right hook. That's Julian Jack.
We got Juntao Nakatani, Andrew Maloney. This was on the undercard of Devin Haney, Lomachenko. I was walking to my seats, trying to find my seats, and all you hear is, "Oh!" by the whole crowd. I gotta see it on the Jumbotron, because I ain't at my seats yet. And you just see Andrew Maloney just stretched. He stretched for a couple minutes. I say, damn. And you got, again, my boy, Jericho O'Quinn, Detroit in the building. Stopping Peter McGrail. He was down the whole fight. He got a knockdown that shouldn't have counted. And then he got a real legit knockdown. And then in the 5th round, McGrail was overconfident. What'd he do? Boom! You know what I'm saying? Put that boy out of there. So that's another KO of the year candidate. Again, Brian Mendoza and Sebastian Fundora. He chopped that tree. He was down on the cards. And yeah. That left hand changed everything. Put him out. Then we had Rayo Valenzuela. Don't even worry about his last name. I'll be messing that up. Rayo versus Chris Colbert. Rayo, a lot of people felt like he got robbed. And, in the first fight. And he said, I ain't leaving it to the judges this time. Matter of fact, I got 50 bands out, knock your ass out. That's basically what he said. And, he did exactly that. He did a leaping uppercut, stopped Chris Colbert, and yeah, he really should have took his 50 bands, but he said, you know what, I don't need it. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. It's Christmas time. Go be with your family. I would have took that 50 bands if you bet me 50. But yeah, a lot of people on Twitter, you know, they voted for the Juntao Nakatani knockout. You know, they felt like that was the one. A lot of people on my Instagram voted for Rayo Venezuela, Chris Colbert. You know, usually I had all my answers written down. You know, I had everything. I chose everything. But for this one, I gotta freestyle this one because, you know, my personal favorite was Jericho O'Quinn because he my boy. And he was down in the fight. And he stopped dude. And it was a beautiful knockout. I was hyped. I was screaming. I was yelling. And then another fight that had me screaming and yelling was Sebastian Fundora getting knocked out by Brian Mendoza. Because I was like, I knew it was coming. I knew somebody was going to knock him out. But I ain't know for sure if it was going to be Mendoza. And he did that. And from a eye test standpoint, I think that was my favorite knockout. The Fundora one, just how he chopped that tree. But I do feel the people when they say Nakatani and Rayo. They voted the most for those. And I might have to agree with the people on the Rayo Chris Colbert knockout simply because he said what he was gonna do and he did it. And then he took a nice little pose. He took a nice little pose after. You feel me? He was like, and you had Chris Colbert in the background of the picture sleep. So I gotta say that was my knockout of the year. Rayo versus Chris Colbert. Performance of the year. Whew. We had so many great performances that didn't make it. You know, Haney Prograis didn't make it. Benavidez Andre didn't make it. Ennis versus Villa didn't make it. But those was some honorable mentions. Some great honorable mentions. But my nominees are Teofimo over Josh Taylor. Inoue over Stephen Fulton. Ben Rodriguez over Sonny. And Terrence Bud Crawford over Errol Spence. You know, for me, I knew what the poll should have said, and they did. They said what they were supposed to say. And to be honest, I was going to do what I was going to do regardless, because for me, this one ain't close. Inoue and Fulton was a great masterclass, but 4 days later, it was overshadowed by Terrence Bud Crawford becoming two-time undisputed when he stopped Errol Spence. You know, Errol was that dude. Errol, you know, he took the belts from the champion one by one. And then you had Crawford, whatever excuses people try to make, Crawford came in there, made it look easy. Crawford really ain't go through nothing. I was shook. If y'all go back, I was saying that was going to be a 50-50 fight. I ain't know what was going to happen. But I really didn't see Crawford dominating the way he did. And he did that, you know. So that was easily my performance of the year. Terrence Bud Crawford stopping Errol Spence, man. You know, shout out to Bud. Man, that was amazing. Speaking of Bud, he a nominee for the next award too. The Face of Boxing Award. The Face of Boxing Award. You got Gervonta Tank Davis, Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Bud Crawford, and you got Ryan Garcia. Those are my nominees for Face of Boxing Award. Tank and Ryan, because they did the biggest did the biggest pay-per-view buys we seen in a minute. With I think 1.2 million or 1.4. One of them, I think it was 1.2. And yeah, they did numbers. I was at the press conference. I knew it was gonna do numbers. I was seeing all stars at the press conference, and yeah, you know, Ryan had a big part in that them numbers too. Ryan got he had 9 million followers at the time. You know, and Tank is the biggest star in the U.S. You know, Terrence Crawford. You know, after stopping Errol Spence, you know, everybody tapped in. Everybody had to tap in. They're like, damn. If they wouldn't hit the bud, they hip to him now. And then, you know, Canelo been a face of boxing for some years now. You know, he's selling at least 500K every time he fight. You know, and that's pay-per-view buys, that is. You know, so to me it comes down to Gervonta Tank Davis and Canelo Alvarez. I did the polls on Instagram. I did it on Twitter. Canelo won one. Tank won another one. And for me, I would have to say, because of the pay-per-view numbers, because of the all the buzz, everybody trying to use his name to go viral. You know, he had some legal trouble, and he still was hot while he was down. You know, and Canelo, you know, he had 2 good fights this year, but I felt like the Ryan fight was just more massive than Canelo's undisputed fight versus Charlo. So for that reason, I gotta say Gervonta Tank Davis is my face of boxing of 2023. And yeah, everything Tank do be viral. So he just been the hottest in my opinion. You know, I know Canelo got Netflix commercials and, you know, all these commercials, but Tank, he don't even be like he be chilling, minding his business, and he still be doing these numbers. It's crazy to me. So I gotta say, even though they both the face of boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis, 2023 face of boxing. Last award, man. My fighter of the year. You got Devin Haney. He was undisputed earlier in the year. Moved up. Took Regis' belt at 140. And yeah, he been buzzing ever since that decision with with Loma. His name been really buzzing. You know, he became a villain. In May. David Benavidez. You know, he whooped Caleb Plant. Sorry, he beat Caleb Plant. And then he beat the undefeated Demetrius Andrade in 5 rounds. Cooked him. And yeah, he had some big years. But them big years was overshadowed, in my opinion, by Naoya Inoue and Terrence Bud Crawford. You know, you had Naoya Inoue last December. He beat Paul Butler, became undisputed at 119. And then he moved up this year. In July, he knocked out Stephen Fulton, which I thought was going to be a way more competitive fight. You know, Fulton, I really like Fulton. Great fighter. And in a way made him look average, I ain't going to lie. And then Tapales beat MJ. And, you know, he had the 2 belts. In a way said, yeah, I'm going to need those. I'ma need those. Inoue came, got his belts, and yeah, he became undisputed twice within 12 months and 13 days. So basically 12 months. He became undisputed at 2 weights twice. And yeah, Naoya Inoue really that. And then you got Terrence Crawford. He moved to welterweight after becoming undisputed at 140. And he made it clear, I want Errol Spence. They've been talking for years and years. It's been a long time coming. Errol was over there getting the belts. Crawford was getting ducked. And they finally came and made it happen. Terrence Crawford said everything he was going to do. He said everything that they was going to say when he won. He said the excuses y'all was going to make. Errol Spence weight drain. Errol Spence stayed there too long. The accident. He said all that. He knew people was going to make these excuses. But they was still saying Errol was going to win. So how did that work? Crawford got in there, demolished my boy. I was like, damn. I say, damn. I was very shook. I ain't gonna lie. That's one of them fights where I was like, damn. Like, I watched Inoue and Fulton, and I watched Spence and Crawford, and I just was like, damn. Them fights had me in awe, bro. Like, special fights. And, yeah. Even though Inoue had the busier year, he had the 2 fights. And, yeah, he conquered 122. I still don't feel like a win over Inoue and a win over Tapales and a win over Fulton was better than the way Crawford demolished Spence, the boogeyman, at one point turned king of the division. And yeah, they both had some amazing years. If Crawford fought one more time, I felt like this award would have been locked for Crawford. Easy. But he didn't. So my decision for Fighter of the Year, between these 4 great fighters, my Fighter of the Year is Inoue and Crawford. Y'all thought, you thought I was gonna choose. You crazy. But yeah, man, y'all thought I was gonna choose. But look, my Fighter of the Year is Inoue and Crawford. They co-Fighter of the Year. Don't criticize me, because the Ring magazine did it in 2020 with Fury and Teofimo. So I could do it this year. I pick both. Fighter of the Year, co-Fighter of the Year, Inoue and Crawford. Them are my Fighter of the Years, man. They gotta split it, because Crawford brought this undisputed shit back in 2017. He brought it back. Now all these boys becoming undisputed. Come on, now. These men wasn't really being undisputed since 2006. Crawford brought it back. Then he became undisputed again this year. And Inoue followed right behind him and did it twice. So, Inoue's activity this year couldn't be disregarded. And Crawford's beautiful performance and year, it couldn't be disregarded. So, yeah. Co-Fighter of the Year. Yeah, I chose. Don't worry about nothing. You thought I was gonna choose. That's crazy. But yeah, that's my awards for the year, man. Prospect of the Year, Abdullah Mason. Women's Fighter of the Year, Amanda Serrano. Fighter of the Year, Haney Lomachenko. Trainer of the Year, Bo Mack. Upset of the Year, Joseph Parker. KO of the Year, Ryo. Performance of the Year, Terrence Bud Crawford. Face of Boxing of the Year, Tank, Gervonta Davis. My Fighter of the Year, co-Fighter of the Year, Inoue and Bud. Yeah. Now, to wrap this beautiful year, I want to say congrats to all these great fighters, man. Congrats to all the great promoters that put on these great fights. But what do I want to see in 2024? It's a lot I want to see. And I'm going to start by saying I want to see a few fights. You know, I want to see let me see what fights I want to see. I want to see Bivol and Better BL fight for that undisputed. I want to see Bam versus Estrada. I want to see David Morrell fight somebody like Christian Billy. I want to see Frank Martin versus Pitbull Cruz. I think that'll be a great fight. I want to see Shakur Stevenson fight somebody like Zepeda. Maybe Loma. After Loma, I believe Loma gonna beat Kambosos, but you know, maybe that fight. What else? I want to see. I want to see Teofimo Lopez, Sabriel Matias at 140 unification. We might see that. I want to see Tank versus Haney. I want to see Baumgardner and Amanda Serrano. I want to see Canelo Benavidez, of course. Ennis versus Conor Benn. And my last one, I want to see Terrence Crawford versus Jamel Charlo at 54 for them belts. Not all the belts, because they stripped some. But I want to see that for them belts, man. That's a few things I want to see. Another thing I want to see is me at the fights. Let's get to that. I want to see me do some interviews with some great fighters, some good fighters, some up-and-coming fighters. You know, I want to see some boxing channels. I want to interview them too. My best friend, Winford Hotboy Harris. You know, he's been fighting at 168 lately. He probably could make 160 again, but I think we're going to stay at 168. I want to see him. You know, he's been out the ring for some, you know, personal legal things. But next year we should be back. I want to see him do about 2 tune-ups. And maybe after them tune-ups, get a big fight with maybe Jamal Charlo, Jaime Munguia, Edgar Berlanga. I want to see him fight some big names after, you know, he come back and get active again. And yeah, my boy, you know, he had a few hiccups. You know, but we had some close fights in those hiccups. And, you know, a little controversial thing happened in his last fight. But, hey, it come with the game. Long as we learn from him. And, you know, he know what to do now to get to that championship level. Hey, man, I think we're going to have a great 2024. And, yeah, that's what I want, man. Shout out to everybody. If you've been watching, you already know I'm gonna rep my brand. So I want y'all to go shop The Untouchable Lifestyle. I got some dope hoodies, some dope shirts, and I got a little bit of Thrill Boxing merch on there. I got a Mike Tyson shirt. I got a Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather shirt. Y'all know I need y'all to buy them shirts. Buy that Floyd shirt. And you know why. Floyd has Bugatti, mini Bugatti. Floyd has Lamborghini, mini Lamborghini. Floyd has 10 girlfriends, me. Okay, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I need y'all to go get that. And yeah, keep supporting me, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Go follow Thrill Boxing on Instagram, Thrill Boxing on Twitter. Thrill Thrill Boxing on TikTok. The number, my video cut off, but it's gonna be a great 2024 and all that. But yeah, support me, man. You know what to do. Get up out of here, bro. Get up.